One woman was arrested this morning during a G8 protest in Halifax.
A local Labour leader is facing a criminal charge.
This week's G8 meeting in Halifax hasn't even started, and already a local Labour leader is facing charges. Florence Jessup now on a nasty moment at an otherwise noisy but peaceful demonstration.
You can turn around and leave right now on the sidewalks, or you can be arrested. It's your choice.
The clash began when protesters blocked Terminal Road, preventing trucks from entering the Port of Halifax. Police forced the crowd to a sidewalk where within moments they clashed with Toni MacAfee.
Put your other arm out. Enjoy yourself.
MacAfee faces charges of assaulting a police officer and resisting arrest. Protesters say she was targeted by overly aggressive police.
What happened was we saw 3 cops pull down an elected union official, Toni MacAfee, who's the education officer for the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. It was unprovoked from what we could tell, and she was pulled down and arrested.
Police say the arrest was justified.
Officers stepped in to move a group of individuals out of the roadway, and in doing so, one of the officers was assaulted.
One of our comrades was dragged from the rally by 3 policemen and thrown to the ground, handcuffed, and taken away. Tony, who was that?
That was Sister Toni MacAfee. Toni is a longtime leading trade unionist. She's the education coordinator for CUPW, the Postal Workers Union, throughout the Atlantic region. Well known by community activists and labor activists, both in the Atlantic region and nationally. Toni's been very involved in not only within her union, but also throughout the broader labor movement and through community organizing. She's been involved in support work for the Palestinian movement, as well as other social justice causes over time. Highly respected, well-known activist.
So then this would seem highly unorthodox that considering the trend for most protests in terms of arrests is usually people who are all clad in black and have their faces covered. She seemed to look fairly well dressed and didn't look like a threatening person at all. Do you think there was any ulterior motive for the arrest, or was this just a case of police sort of getting jumpy?
Well, again, Toni MacAfee is an elected leader within the trade union movement throughout the Atlantic region, elected to her position as the education coordinator. She's known as a leader within the trade union movement and has been very visible on many picket lines, many demonstrations, and other activities throughout, not only in Halifax, throughout the Atlantic region and nationally, and in fact internationally, most recently on a March to Gaza about 3 months ago, and so she would certainly be known as a leader within our community and within the course of the march. I would argue that the arrest this morning was unprovoked, that it was an attempt to undermine the leadership of the rally and the demo, and that certainly Toni is an elected union official, not somebody who was carrying a weapon or anything of that sort. She was simply demonstrating, making her voice heard, together with dozens of other people along the roadway. In fact, at that time, just adjoining the sidewalk on Marginal Road.
Jake Feldman.
And Jake, you saw what happened today?
Yeah, I did. I was just right in front of her, and basically the cops were sort of pushing people onto the sidewalk, and people were sort of moving onto the sidewalk. Imagine a big group of people going onto a skinny area. Mm-hmm. And so people were moving on, and as she was walking onto the sidewalk, she was maybe a couple feet before the sidewalk, and the cops asked her to move, and she kind of looked back in response to the comment made at her, and then looked forward again at the sidewalk. And as she was walking forward, the cop pushed her because I guess she wasn't moving fast enough for them. And then she turned around and said something to the effect of, like, get your hands off of me, or don't touch me, or whatever, with rage in her voice.
Yeah.
And one cop put his arm around her neck and what's it called? Headlocked her.
A chokehold?
A chokehold, yeah, chokeheld her, and then the other cop sort of helped move her and swiveled her sideways. She was holding a coffee at the time, just kind of like moseying onto the sidewalk, and when the cop pulled her around, her coffee flung as a result of being pulled around, and the coffee got on one of the cops' uniforms. And then another cop helped out and dragged her off and pulled her to the ground, and basically 3 cops pulled her down, and once she was on the ground I actually stopped watching, but I guess they eventually put her in a truck and arrested her.